The year is 2019 in the ancient city of Oaxaca, Mexico. Our story begins with a terrible accident. 4-year-old Leo, son of hospital nurse Elena, suffered a catastrophic fall, barely surviving a severe head injury. Doctors performed a miracle, pulling him back from the brink of death. But what happened next, the impossible experience that unfolded over the following 48 hours, was something they couldn't control. When Leo finally woke up from anesthesia, he wasn't the sweet, silly 4-year-old they knew. He was instantly alert, and his first words shocked everyone in the room. "Mama, I died. But I'm okay now. My name was Javier. The bullet hit me right here. My mother thinks I've gone crazy." While the hospital staff quickly wrote it off as a temporary mental confusion, a typical reaction to severe trauma, Leo continued, demanding answers. "Mama, you got married in 1995, didn't you? And you were working at the Tijuana Coastal Medical Center back then. It happened to me there, right? I died, didn't I?" Elena was stunned. She had lived in Tijuana. She did know a resident named Javier from her time there. But there was no possible way Leo could have known the details of a man who died 24 years ago, 1,800 kilometers away. This was more than just a child's delusion. This was a case so profound that it would later involve doctors, psychologists, and researchers from the National Autonomous University, suggesting that human consciousness might be capable of the truly mysterious. To understand the transformation, we need to go back 3 days. Leo was a totally normal kid. His biggest problem? Choosing between a chocolate or strawberry popsicle. He spoke limited English and had zero interest in hospitals. He was the only child of Elena, a 31-year-old nurse, and Ricardo, a simple mechanic. The accident was brutal. The fall caused major blood loss. Paramedics confirmed Leo stopped breathing twice during transport. The emergency team worked for 5 grueling hours, and Leo's heart stopped twice on the table. Both times they brought him back. It was after that second resurrection that everything changed. When Leo opened his eyes, he didn't cry for his mom or ask for water. Instead, he looked around and spoke to the doctor. "Doctor, where are the other casualties? The shooting was intense. I need to help." Sophia Cruz, the head nurse with 20 years in pediatric emergency, said she'd never witnessed anything like it. A 4-year-old using precise medical language to inquire about trauma protocol was simply impossible. The most shocking moment came on day 4. Dr. Victor Ramos, a neurologist with 15 years of experience, came in for a routine checkup. As Dr. Ramos began testing Leo's reflexes, the child interrupted him. "Doctor, you are doing that wrong. To evaluate a post-trauma neurological injury, you must begin with the pupillary reflexes, then the corneal reflex, and only then move to the deep tendon reflexes. That's the basic neurology protocol." Dr. Ramos was floored. Not only did this preschooler perfectly articulate medical terminology, but Leo was 100% correct. Dr. Ramos later recounted, "It was like talking to a colleague. He knew things even third-year medical students struggle to memorize." But Leo did not stop there. He looked at the doctor's stethoscope and declared, "Doctor, that model is ancient. At the Tijuana Coastal Medical Center where I worked, we used the Welch-Allen Elite. That model was much better at catching even the smallest heart murmurs in critical trauma patients." Dr. Ramos nearly dropped the stethoscope. First, how did a 4-year-old know about advanced stethoscope models? Second, the Welch-Allen Elite was released after 1995, the year Leo constantly mentioned. "But doctor," Leo continued, "you look worried. It's hard to believe, but I truly worked there. I was a second-year resident specializing in emergency medicine and trauma. My supervisor was Dr. Torres. Dr. Torres had a distinct scar on his left wrist from a motorcycle accident when he was an intern. At that moment, Dr. Ramos made a decision that would change everything. He grabbed his phone and called the Tijuana Coastal Medical Center. His goal was not to prove Leo was telling the truth. It seemed impossible, but to prove the child was delusional. However, the answer he received chilled him to the bone. What he discovered on the other end was not only possible, it was documented. Dr. Ramos's phone call changed everything. The medical archives secretary confirmed. They had records of a resident named Javier Mendoza Garcia, second-year resident in trauma. He died in August 1995. And yes, his supervisor was indeed Dr. Torres. And yes, Dr. Torres had a distinct scar on his left wrist. Dr. Ramos's hands were shaking when he hung up the phone. He immediately called Leo's parents and explained the impossible. Their 4-year-old son had just provided exact, verifiable information about a doctor who died 24 years before he was born. Elena and Ricardo couldn't process the information. How was this possible? And why was Leo so insistent on returning to the house in Tijuana? For 3 days, Leo grew increasingly distressed. He refused to eat, couldn't sleep, constantly repeating, "I have to go home. My mother, Camila, is waiting. They don't know I'm okay." That's when Elena made the hardest decision of her life. "If this can bring peace to my son," she said, "we are going to Tijuana." The 10-hour drive was intensely difficult. Leo, who had never left Oaxaca, began giving precise directions as soon as they entered Tijuana. Turn right on Hidalgo Boulevard. Now left onto Palm Street. The house is the third one from the corner, the cream-colored one with the big wooden gate. His father, Ricardo, skeptically followed the instructions. When they reached the address Leo described, silence fell over them all. Just as Leo had described, there was the cream-colored house with a large wooden gate. In the front yard, an elderly woman was watering potted plants. Leo bolted from the car, ran to her, and cried out, "Mama Camila, I'm back. It's me, Javier. I didn't truly die." Camila Garcia, in her 70s, dropped her watering can. Javier Mendoza Garcia was her son, the one who died tragically in a shooting at the hospital in 1995. The son she had mourned for 24 years now stood before her in the voice and eyes of a 4-year-old boy she had never seen. But the most disturbing part happened inside the house. Camila, still shaking from shock, invited the family in. Leo walked inside as if it were his own home. "Mama Camila, you moved the living room," Leo said, looking around. The red rug was in front of the library, not next to the window. Camila was speechless. How? How do you know that?" She had only rearranged the furniture 3 years ago. Leo continued his frightening tour with chilling familiarity. "My room was the second one down the hall on the right. My bed wasn't under the window. I used to put my bed beneath that big mirror." He paused at the door and asked, "May I go in?" Camila opened the door with trembling hands. The room looked exactly as Javier had left it. Camila had never had the courage to touch anything. Leo walked straight to a chest of drawers. "My things are here," he announced. Inside were Javier's medical diplomas, his stethoscope, and his graduation photo. Then he pointed under the bed. "My emergency bag is there." Ricardo, Leo's father, bent down and retrieved a dusty, vintage medical bag. Inside were instruments from the 90s, expired medications, and a hospital ID for Javier Mendoza Garcia, emergency resident. But the biggest shock came when Leo went to the living room. "Not behind the bathroom mirror," he said. "There should be an envelope behind the large wall clock in the living room. It has photos of a girl. I didn't tell anyone because she was married." Camila was aghast. Javier had never mentioned a girl. Leo insisted they take down the clock. Exactly where he said, they found a time-yellowed envelope. Inside were 12 photos of a young brunette, inscribed with romantic notes reading, "With all my love, Sophia." Camila began to weep. Sophia was a nurse at the hospital. She came to the funeral. "I thought they were just colleagues," she said. But Leo wasn't done. Under the palm tree in the backyard, I buried a metal box containing the letter she wrote to me. 10 minutes later, Ricardo and Camila were digging at the exact spot Leo indicated. A meter deep, they found a rusted metal box. Inside were 27 love letters from Sofia to Javier, all dating back to 1995. The last letter was dated August 14, 1995, 3 days before Javier's death. The letter read, "My love, I can no longer hide this from my husband. Tomorrow, I am going to tell him everything. If he forgives me, we can be together. I love you, Javier." Leo looked at Camila, and with the voice of a child, but the gravity of an adult, sighed, "She never got the chance, Mama, because I died first." The next day, Camila was determined. She called the Tijuana Coastal Medical Center and requested to view the archives. Patricia Herrera, the archivist, immediately recalled the case. Yes, the resident who died in the August 17th shooting double quotes, in the medical archives, Patricia Herrera laid out all of Javier's documents. It was a robbery, she explained. 2 armed men entered the emergency room at 1:15 a.m. Carlos was on duty. He intervened to protect the patients. Leo, stopping his quiet play, looked up. The black-hooded man had a cobra tattoo on his right arm. The other was shorter and had a limp in his left leg. They didn't initially want to hurt anyone. Patricia froze. She found the police statement from the nurse who witnessed the crime. 2 individuals. One in a black hoodie with a visible cobra tattoo on his right arm. The second was shorter with a limp in his left leg. The document, filed 24 years ago, matched Leo's statement word for word. "But there's more," Leo continued. The black-hooded man shouted, "Get out of the way, doctor." When he saw me protecting Aunt Isabel, who was in bed 4 with pneumonia, I refused, and that's when he shot me. Patricia found the patient's statement from Isabel Ramos, 67, bed 4, pneumonia. Dr. Javier stood in front of my bed. The bandit yelled at him to move. When he didn't, the man shot him. Leo pointed to a photo in the files. "That's Aunt Isabel. She always carried a rosary. She survived." Patricia confirmed Isabel Ramos was discharged 3 days later. Leo smiled for the first time since arriving in Tijuana. "That's good." She always offered me the mint candies she kept in her knitstand. Camila began to cry. They were not tears of sadness, but of a mother who finally understood her son had died a hero, and had impossibly returned to tell his story. Camila's tears were not of sorrow, but the profound release of a mother who understood her son had died a hero and impossibly had returned to tell his tale. But the hospital records contained something even more extraordinary. Patricia Herrera pulled out a special file folder. "There is one more thing very few people know about," she said. Javier left an audio recording. It was an old microcassette, dated August 16, 1995, the day before his death. Javier had a habit of recording medical notes. Patricia placed the cassette into an ancient player. Javier's 27-year-old voice echoed through the room. Javier's tape recording voice. Personal notes. Javier Mendoza Garcia. August 16, 1995, 9 p.m. Just finished my shift and unworried. Suspicious activity near the controlled substances area. 2 men were here yesterday, claiming to investigate security protocols. Leo, who had been playing with a pen, immediately froze, looking at the recorder. Javier's tape recording voice. One was wearing a black hoodie with a cobra tattoo on his right arm. The other had a visible limp. They pretended to be health inspectors, but something wasn't right. "I must alert security tomorrow." The recording stopped. Leo then approached the recorder and asked, "May I speak?" Leo spoke directly into the microphone, as if talking to an old friend. "Javier, it's me. Or rather, it's us. You couldn't warn security, remember? They came back the next day, right when you were looking after Aunt Isabel." Patricia restarted the player. What happened next was recorded and studied by consciousness experts. As Leo continued, A second voice began to respond through the cassette recorder. Javier's tape recording voice. I can hear you. How is this happening? Leo. It's possible because we are the same soul. You didn't truly die. You came with me. That's why I remember everything. Sofia got your letter. She truly loved you, Javier. And Mama Camila. She kept your room exactly the same and loves you dearly. The conversation lasted exactly 6 minutes and 55 seconds. Forensic audio analysis confirmed. 2 distinct voices, one a 4-year-old, the other a young man, impossible to fabricate with 2019 technology. The most shocking part of the recording was at the end. Javier's voice continued. Javier's tape recording voice. Leo, I need to tell you something important about why I came back. I didn't return just to say goodbye. I returned because something needs to be corrected, something only you can do now. It's my body. Leo, what is it, Javier? Javier's voice. They never buried me in the right spot. There was an error at the cemetery. My headstone is in Section C, Plot 110. But my body was buried 35 meters north, in Section D, Plot 405. No headstone, no identification. Camila was aghast. How can that be? I attended the burial. You were buried beneath your headstone. Javier's voice. There were 2 burials that day, Mama. The groundskeeper confused the bodies. The man from Plot 405 is in my spot, and I am in his. Leo then said something that froze everyone. In Section D, Plot 405, at exactly $2.80 text meters dollar deep, they will find a dark gray coffin with bronze accessories. Inside, besides the body, they will find a silver cross necklace belonging to the Tijuana Coastal Medical Center. Engraved with the initials JMG, Patricia Herrera scribbled notes frantically. How? How can a 4-year-old child know such precise measurements? Leo simply replied, because I am Javier, and I need to rest in the right place so I can finally find peace. The most surprising revelation came last. In the coffin, besides the necklace, they will find a letter. I wrote it to Sofia the night before I died, but I never got to deliver it. It is in the chest pocket of the navy blazer I was wearing. 2 days later, Camila obtained a court order for the exhumation of Plot 405, Section D, at the Tijuana Municipal Cemetery. The coordinates provided by Leo were followed precisely. At exactly $2.80, text meters dollar deep, the excavators found a dark gray coffin with bronze accessories. When they opened it, the impossible became real. Inside lay the body of a young man, surprisingly well preserved after 24 years. He was wearing a navy blazer. Around his neck, not on his left hand, was the silver cross necklace belonging to the Tijuana Coastal Medical Center, engraved with the initials JMG. In the chest pocket of the blazer, exactly where Leo had said, was a sealed envelope handwritten with the name Sofia. Forensic analysis confirmed the body was indeed Javier Mendoza Garcia. Fingerprints matched the 1995 hospital records. Camila opened the letter in the presence of authorities. My dearest Sofia, if you are reading this, it means I did not survive. I want you to know you were the love of my life. Do not blame yourself for anything, and be happy. Wherever I am, I will watch over you forever. All my eternal love, Javier. Leo, who had watched everything in silence, approached the coffin. Now I can finally rest in peace. Thank you for helping me get here. At that moment, an extraordinary peace settled over everyone. For the first time in 24 years, Javier Mendoza Garcia was buried in his rightful plot next to his family's headstone. But Leo's story had one last, most crucial chapter. 3 weeks after Javier's burial, an extraordinary event occurred at Camila's house. Leo had returned to Oaxaca, but kept calling Camila daily. The conversations always ended the same way. Mama Camila, I need to go back there. There is one person I need to find. When Camila asked who, Leo always replied, You will know when she arrives. Mama. And on a morning in April 2019, exactly 1 month after Leo's accident, the doorbell rang on Palm Street. Camila opened the door to a woman about 49 years old, with auburn hair, holding a bouquet of white flowers. "Excuse the intrusion, Mom," the woman said. "My name is Sofia Herrera. I worked with your son Javier at the hospital. I read about the letter being found." Camila was overwhelmed. Sofia, the nurse from the secret love story, had returned after 24 years. Camila, struggling to process the impossible coincidence, invited her in. Sofia explained, "I got married, had children, but I could never forget Javier. When I heard about the exhumation and the letter in the press, I knew I had to come." Just then, the phone rang. It was Leo, calling from Oaxaca. "Mama Camila, she arrived, didn't she?" "Sofia?" Camila froze. "How did you know?" "Because Javier told me she would come today. He is here beside me. He wants to talk to her." Camila passed the phone to the trembling Sofia. "Hello?" Leo's voice resonated through the phone, but the tone, the inflection, it was completely different. It was the voice of Javier. "Sofia, my love, you are more beautiful than I remember." Sofia began to sob uncontrollably. "Javier, is that really you?" "It is me, my love. I received your letter, the one from August 14th. I desperately wanted to meet you to talk about our future. Javier, I am so sorry. I should have told my husband sooner. If only I had—" "Don't blame yourself, Sofia. You did what you thought was right, and I understand. I always understood." The conversation lasted 38 minutes. Sofia and Javier talked about everything. The plans they had, the children she had, the life he never got to live. Finally, Javier said, "Sofia, I need to ask you something. You have a son who's 23 and studying medicine Asker, correct? The year is 2019 in the historic city of Oaxaca, Mexico. Our story begins when 4-year-old Leo barely survived a severe head injury from a terrible fall. Doctors brought him back, but over the next 48 hours, they couldn't control the impossible experience that began to unfold. When Leo woke up, he was instantly alert. His first words were shocking, pointing to his heart. "Mama, I died, but I'm okay now. My name was Javier. The bullet hit me right here. My mother thinks I've gone crazy." Leo knew his parents married in 1995, and that his mother worked at the Tijuana Coastal Medical Center back then. It was impossible for him to know the details of a man who died 24 years ago, 1,800 kilometers away. Dr. Victor Ramos, a neurologist, began examining the child when Leo stopped him. "Doctor, you are doing that wrong. You must begin with the pupillary reflexes, and only then move to the deep tendon reflexes. That's the basic neurology protocol." Dr. Ramos was stunned. Leo was 100% correct. Leo pointed to the doctor's stethoscope. "At my hospital, we used the Welch-Allen Elite model. It was much better." He then described a scar on the wrist of Dr. Torres, Javier's supervisor. When Dr. Ramos called the Tijuana hospital, the archivist confirmed Javier Mendoza Garcia died in 1995, and his supervisor, Dr. Torres, had that exact scar. It was documented. Leo insisted on going back to Tijuana, telling his mother, Elena, "Mama Camila is waiting for me." After a 10-hour drive, Leo directed them into the city. The house is the third one from the corner, the cream-colored one with the big wooden gate. An elderly woman, Camila Garcia, was watering flowers. Leo ran out of the car. "Mama Camila, I'm back. I'm Javier. I didn't truly die." Camila dropped her watering can. Inside the house, Leo noticed details Camila had changed, like the red rug not being in front of the library. He revealed that behind the living room wall clock, they would find an envelope with photos of Sofia, a married nurse. Then, under the palm tree in the backyard, they dug up a rusted metal box containing 27 love letters from Sofia to Javier, the last dated just 3 days before his death. In the hospital archives, Leo confirmed the crime details. The black-hooded man had a cobra tattoo on his right arm. This matched the 24-year-old police reports exactly. Leo confirmed he was shot while protecting Aunt Isabel in bed 4. An old microcassette was found, recorded by Javier the day before his death. When Leo spoke into the microphone, Javier's voice responded through the cassette recorder. Forensic analysis confirmed the two distinct voices. Javier's voice revealed the reason for his return. They never buried me in the right spot. There was an error at the cemetery. Leo gave the precise location. Plot 405, Section D, at $2.80. Text meters dollar deep. He said they would find a dark gray coffin with bronze accessories and a silver cross necklace engraved with JMG. 2 days later, the grave was exhumed. At exactly $2.80 text meters dollar, Javier's body was found wearing a navy blazer. The silver cross necklace was on his neck. In the chest pocket, the final letter to Sofia was sealed. Javier's body was finally laid to rest in the correct plot. 3 weeks later, Sofia visited Camila. Leo called from Oaxaca. Leo's voice instantly changed to Javier's on the phone. After 38 minutes of conversation, Javier revealed his final secret. Your son Asker is not your husband's son. He is our son. You got pregnant 2 weeks before I died. Sofia's son, Asker, was finishing his residency in emergency and trauma at the Tijuana Coastal Medical Center. Asker agreed to a DNA test, confirming he was Javier's biological son. The final 310-page study by the UNAM confirmed that Leo possessed verifiable, impossible knowledge. Leo's memories of Javier gradually faded. Asker changed his surname and now works as a doctor at the Tijuana Coastal Medical Center. Camila, at 76, found peace. My son returned to finish what was left undone. Now he can rest, and so can I. This case remains one of the strongest pieces of documented evidence for reincarnation, suggesting the truth may be far greater than we can imagine.